You're not lazy. You're not weak. And you're not failing at life. But something is wrong. You're emotionally exhausted. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. Not the kind a weekend solves. The kind where everything feels heavier than it should. Where motivation disappears. Where even small tasks feel like too much. And a quiet voice keeps asking, "What's wrong with me?" Nothing is wrong with you. This exhaustion isn't random. And it isn't a personal flaw. It's a signal. This kind of exhaustion has a cause. And once you see it clearly, something inside you begins to loosen. Here's what's actually happening. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because being yourself has become effort. Every day costs energy just to function, just to fit, just to be acceptable. And when life requires effort simply to exist, the psyche eventually pushes back. This exhaustion doesn't arrive dramatically. It arrives quietly. Motivation fades. Procrastination appears. You numb yourself with scrolling or distractions, and then you blame yourself for it. But procrastination isn't the problem. It's a symptom. What you're feeling is inner resistance. A part of you is tired of carrying a role that no longer fits. Tired of meeting expectations that don't feel true anymore. Tired of being fine when something inside you feels off. You may not even know what you want instead. You just know that this life is draining you. And that confusion makes the exhaustion worse. If this is already resonating, pause for a moment. Tap the like button so this reaches someone else who feels the same way. Then come back. We're not done. Here's the relief most people never hear. This exhaustion isn't a failure. It's a signal. Carl Jung saw this pattern again and again. People came to him not because their lives were collapsing, but because they were tired in a way they couldn't explain. They were functioning, working, maintaining relationships, doing what was expected. And yet, inside, they felt empty and drained. Jung noticed that this exhaustion often appeared when someone was living far away from their inner truth. He called this the unlived life. The parts of you that never get expression. The desires you suppressed to be loved. The instincts you ignored to be safe. The truths you buried to survive. Jung believed the psyche keeps track of everything you abandon in yourself. And when too much of who you are goes unlived, energy disappears. Not because you're broken, but because something essential is being denied. Jung wrote that the psyche is not passive. It compensates. When you live only one side of yourself, the responsible side, the agreeable side, the adapted side, the opposite side doesn't vanish. It retreats into the background. And from there, it drains vitality. This is why exhaustion often appears not in chaos, but in lives that look stable from the outside. One of Jung's patients was a successful man who felt deeply exhausted despite having everything he was supposed to want. The problem wasn't work. It was that his creative, imaginative side had been shut down since youth. He had built a sensible life, but not a living one. The exhaustion wasn't burnout. It was inner starvation. This is the part most people miss. Your nervous system isn't designed to live against itself forever. So when you ignore your deeper nature for too long, the psyche does something intelligent. It withdraws energy. Motivation fades. Joy dulls. Everything feels heavier. Not to punish you, but to force a pause. This is why rest alone doesn't fix it. You can sleep. Take time off. Relax. But when you return to the same misaligned life, the exhaustion returns. Because rest doesn't address the real cost. The cost is misalignment. Many people call this laziness or depression. Jung made a distinction. Laziness is indifference. Depression is despair. What you're feeling is strain. Strain from holding yourself together in a form that no longer reflects who you are becoming. Jung described this as living too long in a persona, the social mask we wear to function and belong. The longer the mask replaces the self, the more energy it consumes. Another patient Jung wrote about was a woman who lived almost entirely for others. Kind, responsible, self-sacrificing, and exhausted. She believed wanting more made her selfish. Jung helped her see that her exhaustion wasn't moral failure. It was imbalance. Her own needs and instincts had been pushed into the shadow. In Jung's work, the shadow isn't evil. It's simply what you disown. And disowned parts don't disappear. They drain energy quietly from the background. This is why forcing motivation doesn't work. You can discipline yourself. Push harder. Shame yourself into action. But the exhaustion always returns. Because the problem isn't effort. It's alignment. At some point, the psyche demands honesty. And if honesty is avoided, the body and mind express it instead. Through fatigue. Through numbness. Through that heavy feeling that follows you everywhere. Jung believed symptoms are messages. They're attempts by the psyche to restore balance. Your exhaustion may be saying, "This life costs too much." Or, "You're living for approval instead of truth." Or, "You abandoned a part of yourself that wants to live." This doesn't mean destroying your life overnight. It means listening. Listening without judgment. Without fixing immediately. Without calling yourself lazy. The moment you stop attacking yourself, something softens. Because self-attack adds another layer of strain. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" try asking, "What part of me is tired of being ignored?" Energy returns when truth is acknowledged. Not instantly, but steadily. Every small act of alignment gives energy back. Saying no when you mean no. Letting yourself want what you want. Allowing rest without guilt. Allowing expression without justification. Jung called this individuation. Becoming who you actually are, not who you learned to be. Individuation isn't dramatic. It's quiet. Often uncomfortable. And deeply relieving. If you're new here, welcome. Stay with me for a moment. This space isn't about fixing yourself. It's about understanding yourself. And if this is helping you make sense of what you're feeling, subscribe. We explore these inner patterns slowly, honestly, and without judgment. You were never lazy. You were tired of living disconnected from yourself. And that exhaustion isn't your enemy. It's an invitation. Thank you for being here with me. Take care of your heart. And may love always guide your path.